He was a man everyone in the city knew. A millionaire, successful, and admired by many. His name was Ethan, and his empire stretched across industries. To most people, he was untouchable, a symbol of power and wealth. But deep inside, Ethan was a lonely man. His house was massive, filled with luxurious cars, priceless art, and every comfort one could imagine. Yet what it lacked was something money could never buy: warmth, family, and love. Ethan had grown up in poverty, struggling through a childhood of hunger, abandonment, and sleepless nights. When he finally made his fortune, he promised himself he would never go back to those days. He guarded his heart, never trusting anyone, never allowing himself to get too close to others. Life was about business, about success, about proving everyone wrong. That was the wall he had built around himself, and for years, it seemed unshakable. One cold evening, Ethan returned home after a long day of meetings. His sleek black car rolled into the driveway, and the massive gates of his mansion closed behind him. He got out, tired and irritated, holding his phone in one hand as he went through unread messages. He was about to step inside when something caught his eye. A faint sound, a soft, almost muffled breathing coming from the garage. Curious, Ethan paused. At first, he thought it was an animal, maybe a stray cat or a dog that had wandered in. He unlocked the garage door, flicked on the light, and what he saw froze him in his tracks. There, curled up on the cold concrete floor, was a little girl. No older than 7 or 8. Her hair was messy, her clothes torn, and her tiny body was trembling in the chill. She clutched a small, dirty stuffed toy against her chest, using it as a pillow. Her face, though pale and tired, carried an innocence that pierced straight through Ethan's guarded heart. For a moment, he just stood there, shocked. His mind raced with questions. Who was she? How did she get here? Why was a child sleeping in his garage? He crouched down slowly, careful not to startle her, but as he did, her eyes flickered open. Big, brown, tear-filled eyes stared back at him. She gasped softly, pulling the stuffed toy closer. "Please," she whispered, her voice trembling, "don't send me away. I'll be quiet, I promise. I just needed somewhere warm." Those words shattered something inside Ethan. In that instant, memories of his own childhood came rushing back, the nights he had slept under bridges, the times he had begged strangers for food, the days he had hidden from the world, scared and alone. He saw himself in this little girl. The pain, the fear, the loneliness, it was all too familiar. His throat tightened, and before he could stop himself, tears welled up in his eyes. 3 seconds later, standing in the middle of his own garage, the man known for his strength and power broke down. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at the fragile little soul in front of him. Ethan knelt beside her. "You're safe," he whispered, his voice trembling. "I won't send you away. Not now, not ever." The girl blinked at him, unsure whether to believe him. She had probably heard too many promises before, promises that were broken. Ethan extended his hand, and after a long hesitation, she placed her tiny hand in his. Her fingers were cold, fragile, and trembling. He gently lifted her into his arms, feeling how light she was, as if she hadn't eaten properly in days. He carried her inside the house, past the grand chandeliers, past the marble floors, past the priceless paintings. The mansion that had always felt so empty suddenly felt alive. He placed her on the couch, fetched a warm blanket, and wrapped it around her. Then he went to the kitchen and poured her a glass of milk, adding some biscuits on the side. The girl looked at the food with wide eyes, hesitant at first, then quickly eating as if she hadn't eaten in a long time. Ethan watched her silently, his heart heavy. "What's your name?" he finally asked. "Lily," she said softly, crumbs around her lips. "And where are your parents, Lily?" Ethan asked carefully. Her eyes filled with tears again. She hugged the stuffed toy tighter and whispered, "I don't have any. Mommy, she got sick. Daddy left a long time ago. I've been alone." The words stabbed at Ethan's chest. He knew the pain of being abandoned, of losing family, of having no one to turn to. But hearing it from a child made it unbearable. He leaned back, covering his face with his hands, trying to stop the flood of emotions. This wasn't supposed to happen. He wasn't supposed to care. But in that moment, he realized, this little girl had been placed in his life for a reason. From that night on, Ethan's world began to change. He gave Lily a room of her own, with a soft bed, warm blankets, and shelves filled with toys. For the first time in years, the mansion echoed with laughter. Lily's presence filled the empty halls with life. She would run through the corridors, sing little songs, and talk to Ethan about everything and nothing. And Ethan, the man who once thought he didn't need anyone, found himself smiling, laughing, and feeling again. At night, when Lily would sleep, Ethan often stood by her door, watching her peaceful face. And every time, he whispered a silent promise, that he would protect her, love her, and never let her feel the pain he once knew. But the story didn't end there. As word spread that Ethan had taken in an orphan, the media tried to twist the story. Some accused him of using the girl to polish his image. Others speculated about scandals, but Ethan didn't care. For once, he wasn't living for the world's approval. He was living for Lily. One day, as Ethan was tucking Lily into bed, she looked at him with her big, innocent eyes and asked, "Can I call you Daddy?" Those words hit him harder than anything ever had. He froze, tears forming in his eyes once again. Slowly, he nodded, his voice breaking. "Yes, Lily, you can call me Daddy." From that day on, Ethan was no longer just a millionaire. He was a father, and in that role, he found a happiness he had never known before. Years passed, and their bond only grew stronger. Lily thrived under Ethan's care. She went to school, made friends, and blossomed into a bright, kind-hearted girl. Ethan, too, changed. His empire still thrived, but his priorities shifted. Business was no longer his only focus, family was. He attended Lily's school plays, clapped the loudest at her recitals, and was there for every milestone. The man who once thought love was a weakness discovered it was his greatest strength. One evening, as they sat by the fireplace, Lily leaned against him and said, "Daddy, do you ever wonder why I ended up in your garage that night?" Ethan smiled, brushing her hair back. "I think it was fate, sweetheart. Maybe life wanted to give me a second chance. And maybe it wanted to give you one too." She smiled, snuggling closer. "I think Mommy sent me to you. From heaven." Tears filled Ethan's eyes once again. He hugged her tightly, realizing she was right. That night, years ago, when he found a little girl sleeping in his garage, it wasn't an accident. It was destiny. The millionaire who once thought he had everything discovered that true wealth wasn't measured in money, cars, or houses. It was measured in love, in the bond between a father and a daughter, in the laughter that filled a once empty mansion. And so, the story of Ethan and Lily reminds us all that sometimes, the greatest treasures in life come when we least expect them. That behind every closed door, there may be a miracle waiting. And that love has the power to heal even the deepest wounds. Thank you for watching this heart-touching story. If it moved you as much as it moved us, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that remind us of the beauty of humanity. And always remember, no matter how dark life may seem, love and kindness can light the way.